Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I'm your host, Attorney Lee Marvin, where I practice immigration law for families and individuals. My main office is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that's where I'm joining you from today, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Um, won't you please let me know where you're joining me from? Post in the comments where you're joining me from, and also that's where you post your questions or comments about the immigration situation. Um, I would love to see commentary, questions. Let me know what you need, and I'm here to help you with whatever you need with immigration. Okay. So this is the let's see, November 25th, 2024. This is the Thanksgiving edition. It's not Thanksgiving today because today's Monday, but you get it. Mr. M, how you doing? Greetings from Nashville. Thank you for joining us. Every week, our friend Mr. M joins us from Nashville or Costa Rica. So thank you. Um, so again, we're 2 weeks after the election, and there's still tons of questions about what that's going to mean. And I'm here to answer those questions. So if you have a question about it, please post it in the comments section so I can tell you. Every week you absorb more. Thank you for that. I tell you what, I've been absorbing immigration for the last 12 years, and it changes so much that there's no end in sight. But that's okay because I really enjoy it. So thank you, Mr. M. I appreciate it. And then we've got, let's see. I'm just going to jump into this question. Mr. Tusk, I applied for the 751, which is the removal of conditions based on cruelty and divorced, also waiting on 20 months now. Can I remarry? Okay. So this is a question from our YouTube channel. So basically, this is a question about removal of condition. So you're wondering when you can get remarried. Anytime, okay? I've applied for people's removal of conditions even after they're divorced, okay? I've helped a lot of people with this. There's bad stuff that happens to people, and nothing says that you have to deal with a bunch of BS or things that make your life bad or difficult. So you don't have to wait. If you've got a legitimate reason why you're getting divorced, that's all you need. You just need to be able to explain it and to communicate it to immigration because they're very picky, right? Immigration is very, very picky about everything, especially removal of conditions, because so much fraud has happened over the years that they're really picky about it. So you got to let me know if you need my help. There's a phone number at the bottom of the screen, my webpage, and let me 1 second here. I'll get you a link that you can use if you need to book a time to talk to me directly. 1 second here. Because I've been helping people for years with this particular issue. So if you need help, here's the link for that. 1 second here. I want to say thank you everyone who's joining from Instagram, from YouTube, and Facebook. We have those three platforms that are the most popular platforms for us. So thank you for joining us. And I'm seeing a lot of questions. So thank you for your questions. See, has anyone said besides Mr. M where they're joining us from? Mr. M is in Nashville. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's see. I'll read it out as I see it in the comments section, okay? But real quick here. Okay. Hey, Desmay Bruce, you finally received your 10-year green card. Seriously, congratulations for that. You didn't have to do the interview. And I said my wife also filed for a divorce. Would that affect my citizenship? So you only now have your 10-year green card, right? So you got to green card for 10 years. When you have had your green card for 5 years, you can apply for citizenship, or 3 years if you're married to a U.S. citizen. If you're no longer married to a U.S. citizen within that 3 year period of time, then you're not going to be able to move forward with your citizenship. Okay. So if you're divorced, you can't get the 3 year deal. You have to wait the full 5 years. Okay. You never got a 2 year condition, but the marriage was over 3 years. Okay. So when you go to citizenship naturalization, you got to be careful. I mean, careful meaning nothing bad's going to happen. It's just whether you get approved or not. Okay. So it is very possible to move forward and get naturalization based on your history, sir. If you need help, I mean, I can absolutely help you with that. Your wife applied for food stamps and added me on it. Um, um, okay. So whatever a U.S. citizen spouse does has no impact on an immigrant. Okay. So if your spouse is U.S. citizen and has done all sorts of crazy things, that is not going to be a part of your history. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So let me go over here. Let's see here. Michael's joined us from Brazil. So welcome. Thank you for joining us from Brazil. Let's see here. Mr. M has a question. You have a question this week. Can my wife in Costa Rica get a visitor's visa? She has to apply for a passport there, correct? Yeah, she needs a passport in order to get a visa and to travel internationally. So, Mr. M, so she will have to do that to get her visitor's visa. They will not approve her visitor visa without a passport. So she should go ahead and do that. I don't know how long it takes for Costa Rica to get passports to their citizens. So you're going to want to make sure that she has that before you apply for their request for tourist visa. Although saying that, historically, it's taken potentially a couple of years for a lot of embassies to process requests for tourist visas. So you probably can do it right now. I just like to make sure that everything's in place before I do things like that. So just have her get that passport because she's going to need it real soon, guaranteed. Okay, so let's see here. So Damian Thompson says, got my first DUI January 2023, completed the court referral program certificate. There was no accident, no injury, or nothing. Will this be an issue when I file for a marriage-based green card in 2025? Is this deportable? No. DUIs are not deportable offenses unless there's more to the story. If that's all it is, a DUI, driving while intoxicated, that's not a deal breaker. That's not deportable. It's also not something that usually prevents people from being able to get a green card. If that's the only thing you have, you're not going to have to worry about not getting approved for a green card. It's not good, but there are lots of things worse, right? Things that involve what they call moral turpitude are things that you got to worry about. Driving under the influence is not one of those. So you don't have to worry about that. You're definitely going to be able to move forward, okay? And then you said down here, the charge was dropped in February 24. So you have absolutely nothing to worry about, okay? So you're definitely good, Damien. And I remember, I think you asked questions about this last week too. But no, I think you're going to be fine. I mean, you just got to apply for it the right way. It's not going to stop you from moving forward, okay? Okay. Here's a question. Hello, how long to get a marriage green card if I am married to a U.S. citizen, but I enter the U.S. through the CBP program? So that remains to be seen. Okay, you are married to a U.S. citizen, but you entered essentially illegally. CBP is not a legal entry. It's I don't even know what the heck it is, to be honest with you. But you need some sort of I-94 or legal valid entry permission to be able to move forward with your interview in the United States. So yours is a bit more complicated than you would think, because just because you're in the United States doesn't mean that you can do things the way you think that you're going to be able to do them. You have to be in the right status in order to do that. So based on that history, CBP, that is not a legal entry. That is a temporary permission to enter in order to request asylum. That's not a legal entry, okay? So if you have more questions, you can click the link that I posted above, because yours is a very complicated situation. It's a creature of the Biden administration. This sort of thing didn't exist before Biden created it. And the government, Department of Justice and USCIS, they don't really know exactly how to deal with all this, the effects of something like the CBP One app. So it's challenging, okay? So schedule a consultation and I can help you figure this out, okay? Let's see here. What do we have? What do we have? Okay. So Shebra Ward, thank you for joining us from Flint, Michigan. I used to live in Grand Blanc, so thank you for joining us from Flint. So it's been a few years since I've been there, but thank you kindly for joining us. Let's see here. Okay, and I'm going to go over to Instagram, take a look to see what we got cooking over there before I get to any of the questions that I just saw. Again, please post your questions, folks. That's why we're here today. I can talk like you wouldn't believe, but it'd be a lot more interesting for you guys if there's real life questions about immigration. So please post your questions. If you're not getting answers or you're not getting information that you need on here, that's why I posted posted the link up there so that you can book your time directly to speak with me. Okay, so let's see here. This is here we go. Here's a question. Let me post it here. Do you recommend getting married before the new president gets to the White House? Would he be able to change the laws about getting a green card after marrying a U.S. citizen in a same-sex marriage? No. Trump, he may be all-powerful with certain things. That is not one of them, because this process is congressionally based, okay? So Congress passed laws that allow for things like same-sex marriage. That is federally recognized. Trump can't touch that. What he, boy, I was thinking of that song. You know what I'm talking about? It dates me a bit, but can't touch me. Can't touch that. What is that? What is that song, you guys? Yeah, MC Hammer, I think. Anyway, so the point is, Trump can pressure. He can try to change the law, but just him deciding he doesn't like something, it's not how it works. So you do not have to worry about that. Okay. So the process is going to move forward. It's going to keep going the way it has been going for the last number of years. Remember, Trump was president before, and same-sex marriages and green card processes where I got many approvals under the Trump administration. So you don't have to worry about that. That's not going to go anywhere. Okay. So I got some other questions I want to check out here. Okay. And then I'm going to come here and go to our friends on Instagram. So first, I've got some people that are texting their question to me. Okay, we got a friend from Utah. How can I bring my spouse from Afghanistan? I haven't applied yet. So this is Saeed. So if you have anyone overseas, you can apply for, depending on your status, because again, if you're a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, you have the right to sponsor people to get a green card to come to the United States. Okay, so whether they're from Afghanistan or whether they're from London, right? You can absolutely sponsor them through the process, which is known as consular processing. There's several different types of processes for people living overseas: spouse visa, fiance visa, or the green card process. Okay, so you can do that. I can help. There's links And I will post that again just for good measure. Here's the link for that, because a lot of these questions, people want to talk and ask me follow-up questions, and the consultation link is the best way to do that, okay? Let's see here. 1 second. It's kind of like juggling here, folks. I'm looking at a lot of different platforms. This question, I attended my 485 interview. That's a green card interview inside the United States. I was issued a paper saying the case is under review, but my case status has not changed from interview scheduled. It's past 120 days already. Any advice on what I should do? So this is Raymond is the name of the gentleman who posted this. So man, 120 days is crazy long for immigration while you go to an interview to not make a decision. So I don't know what field office this person is dealing with, Raymond, what you're dealing with. I don't know if you're even on the call right now on the live, but you absolutely should reach out to immigration, call them up and say, hey, what is going on? 120 days is crazy. I also say, go to your online profile. I'm not really a believer in the online system because it's just there really window dressing, but there is information on there sometimes, and you can reach out to immigration through there. So that's my advice. Reach out to them directly. If you don't get a response from them, it's basically, there's different things you can do, like escalating it up the chain to get immigration to actually give you an answer, because that's a bit strange that is 120 days. That's a long time to wait for something to move to the next stage after the interview. Okay. Here's a question. Good evening, attorney. What is the maximum time to respond to an RFE through adjustment of status? So typically speaking, request for evidence, they typically give, is it 87 days is the maximum amount of time they can give to respond. Typically, they give the maximum time for responses because depending on what the request for evidence is, it might take time to get the information that is needed. If it's a quick answer, meaning if you can just respond and provide an answer to a question, that usually you have a shorter period of time. But typically speaking, 87 or 88 days is what they give people to respond to a request for evidence. Do not miss that deadline. Whatever that date is, treat it like the most important thing in the world, because they will deny you and you'll have to start from scratch. I've had it happen to a number of people that reached out to me. It's brutal. So I had a consultation tonight that he sent the wrong information to immigration for this was naturalization. They gave him a request for evidence and said, hey, send us this information. He sent that information. And what do? Denied. So they denied his process, and now he has to file from scratch. You don't want to be in that situation, so make sure you don't miss a deadline and make sure you give immigration exactly what they ask for, okay? If you have questions, you can always book a consultation with me and check out the link that I already posted, okay? So this is a question. When can you file for citizenship after marriage-based green card? Is it 3 years after the initial marriage or 3 years after you've gotten the 10-year green card? I get this question a lot. It is 3 years after your green card's approved. Marriage, I mean, it's important, but they go based on your approval for your legal permanent residency. That's when the clock really starts. So it's 3 years after you become a legal permanent resident based on marriage to a U.S. citizen. If you're still married at the time of your interview, it's 3 years. If you get to your interview and they find out you're not married, then they will kick you out, boot you out, they will deny the request and you will have to come back and refile for your naturalization after the 5 years. Okay, so let's see here. I think I answered all those questions. Let me go over here. So we've got, okay, here's a question from Moaz Ibrahim. So butchered your name. Sorry for that. I came to the United States on a visitor visa, got married to a U.S. citizen, and I just got a work permit approved. Very nice. And I was also asked to do a medical test. Does that mean I will get the interview waived? You know what? I think the days of waiving interviews is probably over, if not very close to being over. They've actually done a lot, and I give credit where credit's due. Immigration has worked their tails off to try to catch up, to try to make things better for applicants in wait times. It's not always the case. So they've caught up on a lot of things, and I don't think that this canceling the interviews is really a thing anymore. I haven't had a client with a interview canceled in a very long time. What's very long? It's been like 9 months, I think, since I've had a client get an interview waived. Okay, so just plan on having to do the interview. If you have questions about the interview, you can always click the link and book a time to talk to me, and I'd be happy to help you understand what it means. Okay. And that was a question from our friends on YouTube. So thank you for that question. Okay, we got Charles is asking, my fiance had her interview on August 26th. My congressman got confirmation that they had everything on October 7th. She's still waiting. Should I file a Mandamus lawsuit? So October 7th. So I don't know. I don't think you can, because if it's a fiancé visa, again, I don't know if it's a visa. I don't know what it is. But a Mandamus lawsuit only works within the United States. So if this is a fiancé visa, then your fiancé doesn't have the right to request that because your fiancé is outside the country. Okay. So that's how that works. Okay, let me see here. I think I had another question. All right, so this is a question. I don't know what platform this is from, but it doesn't matter. I have a work permit and Social Security. Should I be scared of Trump's mass immigration deportation? Okay, so this question, that's a really good question. So, Lilibeth, thank you for sending that one along. Everything comes down to how you're in the United States. A work permit, social, that's nothing. That's just a courtesy that the Biden administration has given people to quickly get the ability to work, so people stop criticizing them. Okay, it's not legal status. So I will say that if you don't have legal status, then you are potentially at risk for the mass deportation. The mass deportation, a lot of questions about it. Check my YouTube channel because I've done videos about it. So the mass deportation is all about the CBP One app, the asylum, the crazy border crisis. That is what mass deportation is all about. It's not necessarily about people that have been in the United States, even illegally, for a decade or for longer. It's all about the short-term people coming to the United States, CBP One app, just crossing the border. I mean, if you file for asylum, that's different. You are protected, but just getting a work permit and a Social Security doesn't really mean a whole lot. It means a whole lot if depending on the basis for it, okay? So if it's based on asylum, well, you got nothing to worry about, okay? Because mass deportations are not designed to get rid of people who've got a pending asylum claim, okay? But there's a lot of different things. It depends on what your status is, depends what you've applied for. It really depends, okay? Let's see here. Let me go back over here. Trying to catch up here, folks. There's a bunch of questions. Okay, I'm trying to understand this question from Sammy. It's good members of a jury, and I'm waiting asylum. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not a question. And Sammy, let me read this down here. Will joining a jury in New York affect my asylum pending or not? So I don't know what New York says as far as people's requirement to serve on a jury. If you don't have a legal status, then they're not going to ask you to be a part of a jury. If they're asking you, it means that you've got in New York status recognized by them to be on a jury. It's not a problem, okay? It's not a problem. It's not going to hurt your asylum. Asylum is asylum. That's separate from everything else in the world, okay? Asylum is its own thing, and only problems with your immigration crimes will always knock you out of the loop with asylum. But doing things like civic things is not going to create a problem for asylum. Now, if you claim to be a U.S. citizen and that's how you got on the jury, that's horrible, really, really bad, okay? So hopefully that's not how it works in New York. I don't know, okay? Let's see here. So let me see here. Sammy's at more information. Okay, yep, no, I got that. So, happy girl. Thank you for joining us. I like to post this, okay, since I learned that trick. Happy Thanksgiving. Is that a question? Because I take it as a well wish to me to have a happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. So let's see what your question was above. If you have a warranty pending in your own country, you mean warrant, right? Like for arrest or something, and you came to the U.S. and are undocumented, can you be expedited, like expedited deportation? Is that what you mean, happy girl? Yeah, a warrant is basically the government, the police, their approval or their authority to bring somebody into court. That's what a warrant is. Okay, if there's a warrant pending in another one's country, and if immigration knows about that, then that may impact their decision to move quickly or not. It really depends on the facts of the situation. And happy girl, I know you've said things in the past about your ex, who's not a nice person. But it really depends on what the warrant is for. It really depends whether immigration will go after them quicker because of that. It really it depends, okay? Because you could get a warrant for, I don't know, not paying tickets or something, or I don't know. I can think of crazy examples, but it really depends on what the underlying crime is, okay? Okay, let's see here. So this question, man, we're almost out of time. Holy cow. Can a citizen petition for an adult half sibling? Yes. And you're joining us from YouTube. Check my YouTube channel. I did a video, I don't know, it may have been about a year ago about this. So check out my my videos, because yes, an adult can sponsor a half sibling, but it is technical. So take a look at my video if you have questions. Again, up here, I'm posting the link so you can reach out to me. I've had this issue come up in the past. And typically it's something that you're going to want to talk to me directly about. So that's what that link is for. Check it out. And that was, let's see. Let's see here. And this is our friend from Flint. As a U.S. citizen, is it okay to marry someone that is seeking asylum, or is it best to wait until asylum decision? Good question. It is not best to wait for the asylum decision because, I mean, for you, it doesn't matter because you're a U.S. citizen. If you get married to this individual, that individual has two options now. The asylum process, which it depends on how long it's been pending because they do take years. You absolutely could get married, and you can then sponsor your spouse to move forward with a green card process. You don't have to necessarily wait for asylum, okay? So, Shebra, if you have questions, click that link, reach me directly. I would love to answer your questions because it is totally doable, absolutely doable, okay? Okay, let me see here. I know we're past the half-hour mark, but I'm just having such a good time. Okay, question here. What should we expect when we apply for citizenship when Trump takes over? I think those are very ominous words to use. When Trump takes, yeah, I get what you're saying. Should we expect a lengthy wait? No, I don't. I wouldn't worry about any of that stuff. A lot of this stuff with the politics gets blown out of proportion. Trump, whatever. He's a politician. He's the president. I'm not saying that he's not a very powerful individual with the authority he has, but there's only so much power a president has, and there's only so many things that he can do, right? He's talking about all the things he wants to do in the first 100 days. There's a lot of stuff, and that's not easy, right? So it's not like he can do whatever he wants, however he wants, as quickly as he wants. Things take time. So Trump is going to prioritize things. There's definitely things he's going to hit real quick. Mass deportation is something that I don't think is going to happen, but I know that he is absolutely going to try to make it happen. What I mean by it's not going to happen is that it's not that easy to do, right? There's a lot of things that have to be set up in a way that allows him to move forward. And again, there's powers that the government has always had to be able to deport people very quickly, right? If that's what they're going to use for these mass deportations, then it's going to happen pretty quickly. But there's how many millions of people in the United States over the last, decade, 2 decades, 3, 5 decades that have lived in the United States without authorization? 13 million. That's why I say those individuals are not the priority of this mass deportation. It's people that recently came into the United States. The government does have the power to get rid of a lot of those individuals, but they still get their day in court. So don't fret that it's going to happen overnight, but it will happen swiftly if the government lines things up the right way, okay? So let's see here. I think I'm about done with the comments. Some very nice people join us tonight, so thank you kindly for that. Great questions. Let me go over here real quick to Instagram, see if I missed anything. No, that was a question that I answered before. So it looks like I got all of the outstanding questions. Yeah, I got all the outstanding questions for tonight. Great questions tonight, you guys. Thank you kindly for joining. Join next Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Have your questions ready so I can knock them out. If you need to click on that link to schedule a consultation, time to talk directly to me, please do that. This stuff is complicated. It's going to get more complicated. Things are going to get goofy and weird after January. So please stand by. And if you have questions, that link is the best way to get those questions answered. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week.